Hello and welcome to CNR Extra here on Citi TV. My name is Nanatufo Boateng. Coming up. Some small and medium-scale enterprises hint of an upward adjustment in the price of goods and services following the recently announced hikes in utility tariffs.
We said we will increase the prices. The 50 pesos, it will be almost 55 pesos. That's 40 pesos, it will be 55 pesos now.
Also coming up, police assures it will maintain peace and order at the University of Ghana following protests by Commonwealth residents over the removal of their hallmaster and senior tutor due to recent clashes.
Thank you very much for supporting us and cooperating with the police for what we've been doing to ensure peace and serenity on campus. So our students will be able to go about their studies successfully without any problem.
Still ahead, Member of Parliament for Domkwabinya, Sarah Adjoasafo, thanks President Akufo-Addo for his support during what she terms her difficult period. And later, former President John Dramani Mahama urges President Akufo-Addo to immediately work towards compensating victims of the Apiate disaster.
Apiate for M4 court. Emma court and Kokan Asana buying to compensation. And the message on my opinion. And opinion for say near Apiate for air kenny.
Before we bring you the details of our stories, let me say good morning and welcome to you, Jude Mensah.
Thank you so much, Nanatufo. Always a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. Great to have you. You can also join us. The WhatsApp number is 0550-585832. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and your contributions on the various stories that we will be bringing you on this show. Let's start off from the point of utility tariffs and its likely impact on the prices of goods and services.
In May this year, various utility companies, which includes the Electricity Company of Ghana and the Ghana Water Company Limited, called for an upward adjustment in tariffs. Although this particular upward adjustment proposal was resisted by most consumers, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, on Monday announced this particular upward adjustment. It says that the Ghana Water Company Limited can increase its tariffs by 27.5%. Also, the Electricity Company of Ghana can also increase its tariff by 21.55%. The PURC has also indicated that to help sustain businesses, it is restructuring the regime of the tariff payment. Today on the Citi Newsroom, we are on the streets to interact and get reactions of some of these people, that is the small-scale businesses, to find out the impact of this increment in tariffs on their businesses. So we're still assessing the impact of the new tariffs on consumers. I'm currently here at Alajo, a suburb of Accra, and I'm currently entering one beauty parlor here in the area. I'm just here to speak to the owner here, just find out what really the impact of this particular development will be on her business. But as you can see around, I'm sure they heavily depend on water.
We can't do without water. Especially, we can't do without water. You could see this is the washing base that we do wash the hair. Okay. Yeah, and we depend solely on this one.
How many minutes do you stay here when a customer comes here? How many minutes does the person have to stay here before they move on to the next stage?
In 10 minutes.
Wow, in 10 minutes. Meaning that you'll be using the water for 10 minutes?
In 10 minutes. Not consistently using the water.
Here, which other side do you depend on?
Pedicure. This is for the leg.
Okay.
Yes, we also use the water for the leg. And next is our washing basin. That is for the nail side.
Okay.
It's also necessary because after every use you would have to scrub the fingers to keep it neat. Okay. So that we also need that.
In a whole month, how much do you pay for water?
I don't know. In September, I'll be paying.
So we do understand that the new tariff says that you're going to pay 21.5% more for the water that you're paying already. How does this get to you?
It's a blow to me, and it's going to be a blow to this business, because increasing price would actually, I don't know, but I don't think my clients will be happy about me increasing price just because utility bills has been increased.
In a week or in a month, how much do you pay for light and also water?
It's very expensive. Very, very.
Around how much are we looking at?
1,000. Even 1,000 plus. Say ejumani ba ebia yefan say pedicure say a di time pa nti nipa ni ba ebedi a longer time, so the AC must be on. So na be a onu so benya ni comfort. Next time okwa na wetimi aba. But so one man is our comfort no. Okwa omba ena yes answer na ma bill no asa ye more.
And how much do you also pay for water every month?
Water 500 plus. Sometimes it depends. Wow. It depends, yeah.
When you do your whole estimation, your cost and everything after your payment of the salaries and everything, do you think you make some good money?
Not really. It's just that we are all working, but we are just managing. Because 1 year juma, wuntimi ntinefi enso. You have to come. Inti abine or so she. Or so she ma bro. Emma ye bra wo Ghana ha papa. Into onsha no nya bibi enfa ho. Onsha no nya bibi enfa ho.
Are you thinking of making your customers pay more for that?
So obi anye ejuma so beboka. We are all working to get some profits. Inti say affect light ni eyina. Omo so mo betue bi. I have to increase, because if I don't increase, I'll close my shop. Shop rab, jiska made and yes, catch me shop rent.
And how much do you charge now, like for your customers when they come to wash their hair and everything?
Washing is 30 cedis. So when it comes to that, I think I'll go to 40 before I can manage very well. Yeah.
And what do you think will be the reaction of your customers?
Hey, any yaw dear. Akufado yebe your papa or Miss Alunga.
I didn't hear. Why would they?
I don't know also.
No, but like you, why would they also? I mean, insult, because they need to understand that things have changed. So I'm currently here at a printing shop just in front of it. I'll just be getting interactive with the owner. You know clearly that they also rely heavily on electricity to go about their duty. How much do you pay every week, every month? How much do you pay for electricity here?
Oh, here we are using the prepaid. Okay, so unless 1 month, you can even buy a prepaid more than 1,000. Yes, because the machine is consume the electricity more. So we are buying 1 month, you can even use 1,000. Yeah.
Well, and even with 1,000, would you say it's expensive and it's taking a toll and on the income you make here?
Yes, please. Because look at how the electricity was going. Because if the customers came and they say they are able to do something like that, these books, it's difficult for us to increase our prices.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. My name is Kweku Ediama Ansa. Let's try and get some response to some of the concerns that have been raised by consumers of the various utility services. And so we're here currently at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, to find out some reactions with regard to what the consumers have been saying.
Well, I'll say to such people that they should also consider the situation that the utilities are going through. Just as they are going through situations or going through hardships, all of us are going through hardships. I am also going through hardships. I'm a consumer. I pay water bills. I pay electricity bills. So is the same thing with the utilities. The utilities need to keep the lights rolling. They need to keep the lights on. They need to keep the water flowing. So how then do they do it if they don't have any adjustment at all? If we have exchange rates which is against them, for inflation is going against them, and government is able to take part of the cost of utility just to ameliorate the pain of the ordinary man, I think that it is only being fair that the ordinary man should also come up a little bit to meet up with whatever it is that government has put in place to ameliorate the pain of the ordinary citizen on the street.
Well, Jude, I don't know, what do you make of the ripple effects of the hikes in utility tariffs? Before you come in, though, let me find out if you've seen the tweets by Gabi Ochiridako. I mean, he's expressing optimism at the reaction that has greeted the announcement of the increment in tariffs. He thinks Ghanaians are willing to pay a little extra.
I mean, knowing Gabi Ochiridako and his status in government and in the party, you don't expect him to say otherwise. So, not surprising from him at all. But, I mean, it underscores the points we were making on this show yesterday with regards to the fact that if you look at all that's happening in the country, the only problem with this, in my view, it's the timing. Looking at everything that is going on in the country right now, the economic constraints Ghanaians find themselves in, the depreciation of the cedi, inflation soaring at 30%, and all the things that's happening in the finance and the economic climate in the country right now, these tariffs at this point do not seem right. But then again, on the other hand, if you put yourselves in the shoes of these utility service providers and you look at the cost they have to incur, the challenges they face in the line of their duty, it was only a matter of time that some of these things came up. I've heard calls from the minority, and I've heard very strong calls for that matter, pointing to the fact that if you assess the eventual cost of this tariff increments, at the end of the day, will probably be more than the 27.1% the PURC is saying Ghanaians are going to pay. The minority, that's Edward Bauer, MP for Bongo, was speaking, who was saying that it was going to be somewhere around 34%. I mean, all of these fears are coming, and you can understand justifiably so, because of the really difficult economic situations we find ourselves in the country. But like I was saying yesterday, the alternative would have been far more disastrous, or would have been far more difficult, because it meant that if these utility service providers are not in a position to provide their services, then the businesses will now have to collapse. I mean, imagine a cold store operator not having electricity to run. I mean, so it was. A typical
example is the Krobo area and what is happening.
And what is happening there right now. Almost everything is coming to a standstill. Hospitals would be losing patients on a daily basis. So you don't want to imagine what the alternative would have been. But then again, the bigger problem for me is the threshold with regards to who pays what, because you know that residential homes are paying a different tariff increment, and shops consumers are also paying different. But like I was saying yesterday, if I'm a young business or a startup and I operate from my house, how different am I from a company that's
an established
saloon or barbering? So all of these questions are good. But yesterday I was also saying that if you look at the report the PURC put out with regards to the tariff increment, you get the idea that government is looking in line with the cost subsidization program. So these things are positive. So in my view, it suggests that government is not sitting aloof. They understand the constraints of the time and are trying to mitigate the situation. So all hope is not lost. And I get where Gabu comes from with regards to optimism in the system, and hope that things get better going forward.
Right. I mean, the PURC, of course, is mandated to do their quarterly reviews. So it's not like they announce the increment and then that's it. They will do their reviews, and if need be, perhaps a reduction or otherwise an increase. But then also there's also the fear of the impact of the implementation of the new tariffs on inflation, because then there's it's going to shoot up inflation, which is already above
30%.
30%. And this more or less spells doom for the country, just as the IFS has been predicting and all. But let's move on. University of Ghana, yesterday, the police were there. They had some level of engagement with leadership of the Commonwealth and the Mensa Sabah halls. Let's get the details in this clip.
It was a heavy police presence on the Legon campus of the University of Ghana following protests by Commonwealth Hall students over the interim removal of their hallmaster and tutor. The police, led by DCOP Mohammed Suraj, the Accra Regional Police Commander DCOP Shaibu Garba, was to ensure calm as the students protested the suspension of their hallmaster and tutor. They assured the public of their commitment to ensure peace prevails on campus while investigations continues. Fred Duhu has more in this report.
Top police officials from the Ghana Police Headquarters, Greater Accra Regional Police Command and the Legon District have been engaging leadership of Commonwealth and Mensa Sabah halls to find an amicable solution to the ensuing tension. Management of the University of Ghana, in a press statement issued on August 15, 2022, in the interim, relieved the hall master and senior tutor of Commonwealth Hall of their duties for their inability to hold students accountable for their actions in recent violent clashes. According to the statement, this will allow management to investigate the root cause and find lasting solutions to the tension. The statement further indicated that Commonwealth Hall must be surcharged with the cost of damages to property in the vicinity of Mensa Sabah Hall. The police administration, after the protest, engaged leadership on the way forward on security to ensure lasting peace. DCOP Mohammed Suraj assured the public that the police are on top of issues to enforce peace.
These are officials of the police from the top rank, some from the police headquarters and some from region, basically from the engagement with the leadership of vandals or from the Commonwealth Hall. And so far they are done with their engagement. We are here to ensure that we monitor our deployment on campus. I don't know whether you've gone on to see how deployed. We haven't spoken about that. We are here to ensure that our officers are operating very well. Took the opportunity to also interact with the halls. From here, we are moving towards our hall to also find out how our men are operating. As for what has gone on there, it's an internal police interaction. We can't mention anything yet because there's nothing even happening. So when the need arises, we'll talk to you. We want to thank you very much for supporting us and cooperating with the police for what we've been doing to ensure peace and serenity on campus, so that students will be able to go about their studies successfully without any problem.
While at Mensa Sabah Hall, the vehicle that was burnt during the clash was towed to the Legon police station.
The police administration from the headquarters and regional are basically here to engage with leadership of the two halls to find some amicable solution to this ensuing conflict between the students from the two halls. So far, we understand students from the vandals or Commonwealth Hall are agitating about the action taken by the university administration, which calls for, they are calling for some form of restoration of those that have been sacked and those that are supposed to meet disciplinary action in the coming days. So far, the police say they won't speak on record, but only to assure the general public that there is peace on campus, and they will do everything possible within their power to ensure this issue do not degenerate into something else. My name is Fred Duo, reporting for Citi News.
I think it's important that the police has really stepped in and stepped in strongly, for want of a better word, to intervene in this matter. Because you see, students, if unhappy, will protest. And following recent events between the two halls, if such a protest should happen again, then you get a sense of what the outcome will be. Currently, the bus is still missing. I'm really worried about the bus being missing, but that's on the lighter side. But I think it's really important that the police has intervened. And of course, the management of the university must be commended for taking some bold steps in dealing with this matter.
I mean, and I agree with you. To a very large extent, if you ask me, I believe that management have done the right thing with regards to where this is headed to. But Nana, if you look at the issue, it looks like for me yesterday, watching the police go to campus, that was a little too much show of force or power, for want of a better word. I mean, I admit I was on the show yesterday saying that, I mean, we need police presence on campus, but looking at the guns and all of those things, the vehicles, it was a bit just too much, if you ask me. I mean, I believe the average university student does not support vandalism. I don't believe the average university student is violent and would go all out to destroy property and stuff. So we need to look at it.
Yesterday, when Fred returned from campus, he did mention that prior to the meeting or the engagement of the leadership of the two halls, the students did express their discomfort with the police presence.
Exactly.
And so the higher ranks had to more or less dispatch the lower ranks, so at least some level of comfort.
Yes, yeah, I mean, rightly so, because like I'm saying, I don't believe the average University of Ghana student is rowdy or violent. It's just a few bad nuts who are fostering this trouble. So yesterday, looking at the police go in such full force was, for me, was a bit much and can be very intimidating for some of the students. So that was just about it. And another issue, really, if you look at the commentary that has characterized this particular incident, it looks like all the talk is about Commonwealth, it's about vandals, and this is in no way even exempting them from blame. But of course, the bus issue with the stolen bus is most likely to be a resident from Commonwealth. But it looks like it's just about Commonwealth, and Mensa Sabah really doesn't, students or people who were fostering trouble in Mensa Sabah Hall to have been let on a little loose. I believe to a very large extent it takes two to tango. So we expect that same strict approach in dealing with students from Mensa Sabah Hall who were part of this trouble causing incident. But it goes back to my core point. I believe there should be some form of enhanced security on campus. You can go the approach of campus policing, where you have police officers patrol the university, not necessarily armed policemen. Like I'm saying, just the presence of a uniformed policeman in a long way can go in repelling some of these instances. So police. But
then you see it's important to have some of these policemen to ward off some of these activities, because you see, if yesterday the University Teachers Association, the University of Ghana branch, did issue a statement condemning the clashes. In that statement, point 2, the latter part of that sentence says that the clashes are threatening to get out of hand, out of control, and then of course will hinder academic peace.
Yeah, I mean,
freedom on the campus. So it's important to have
these clashes existed before I went to university. I witnessed some of these, and it's happened even after I've left the university. So you can understand where UTAG is coming from. But like I'm saying, the 3 main approaches is probably to get some police on campus. You can go the campus policing approach like it's practiced in the US, in Canada, and even in some parts of Africa. I understand South Africa has that too. We need to intensify counseling at the university. It's been let loose on a very large scale. A lot of students don't patronize the services of the counseling and placement center. When you go to university, you're supposed to undergo some 2 or 3 day orientation program. A lot more students don't take part in some of these things. I believe over the years, these are some of the ripple effects of the lack of students utilizing the products from and the services of the counseling and placement center. And the third point is to ensure that the university management takes steps in making sure that students in the hall are actual students and not outsiders and old students who have left the school and hide in these halls and hostels to foment trouble.
I agree with that. And of course, leadership of the various halls should avail themselves for some of these engagements, so that at least we bring an end to some of these needless clashes. But yeah, Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adwoa-Safo, is in the news again. This time, she's thanking the President for revoking her appointment as Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection.
The Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adwoa-Safo, has expressed her gratitude to President Akufo-Addo for his support during her difficult time. Adwoa-Safo was dismissed as Minister of Gender and Social Protection in July, following her long absence from Parliament and the ministry. According to the presidency, her dismissal was in accordance with Article 81A of the Constitution. The legislator said she has handed over official access to the ministry's administrator. She believes her dismissal from the ministry will give her more time to concentrate on parliamentary responsibilities and constituency engagements.
Exactly, and she says it will afford her ample time to attend to parliamentary duties.
The worst,
is Adwoa-Safo in the jurisdiction?
The worst part is when she even says that it will also help to consolidate the gains they've made as a government. I mean,
she was part of the government.
I don't even know. This is the most confusing thank you statement or letter I've ever seen in my life, and the commentary that has surrounded this is very interesting. But it's on a more serious note, if you look at all that has happened in the last couple of weeks, it's sad that we had to come to this point. Analyzing, we've spoken a lot about Adwoa Safo on this particular show, the committee, the privileges committee. So many things have come up. But for me, I want to really look at it from a different perspective and sort of bring Parliament inside. You would recall that in the year 2021, when the vetting for MPs was going on, and she had the opportunity to take vetting for ministers was going on, and she had the opportunity to appear before the appointments committee. She was one of the ministers that had the shortest time, and for me that spoke volumes with regards to the fact that to a very large extent, maybe Parliament didn't pay attention to her enough. She probably wasn't prepped well for the role ahead. I mean, I've always been of the view that for some ministerial positions, you just don't need party people. You need very experienced and people vested in the field. And for me, the Ministry of Children, Gender and Social Protection is one of such ministries. You need someone who is known for who's known for something, someone who stood for something, not necessarily a lawyer, not necessarily an outspoken person, maybe an activist, someone who's out there known for championing the interest of women and children. Exactly. And for me, number one, Honorable Adwoa Safo, with the greatest respect, didn't appear to be that person. So when the appointments came, myself and I believe to a very large extent, Ghanaians expected that the appointments committee was sought to not grow but bring out the issues, get there to explain the issues very well, and let her understand the scope of work ahead. Maybe that is why she probably didn't last in the ministry, and we've seen all of these things happen. It's unfortunate that we have to get to this point, but I think to a very large extent, Parliament is part of the problem. They probably didn't do enough work in making sure that she understood the role ahead. Reason why she probably eventually just wasn't able to really succeed at the ministry.
All right. She says, well, this will give her enough time to work to help the party break the 8.
And for me, another thing briefly is we glean from this is that she's probably come back for good now, because in the statement she says that she wants the opportunity to now focus on Domi Kwabena. So hopefully,
her parliamentary duties
and constituency work.
And work to break the 8.
So hopefully now
we wish her well.
She's resolved her issues and wants to come back and focus on parliamentary work. But I'm sure the privileges committee is still looking at the issues, and some of these things will be coming up again. But it's very interesting. I mean, I didn't expect the letter in the first place, and seeing the letter come out, I was really taken out. I was really surprised. But hopefully, we get more clarity on what the privileges committee want to do going forward with regards to whether or not she remains a member of Parliament of the House.
All right, we'll get to know that when the House resumes somewhere in October, I want to believe. But you're watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. The WhatsApp 832. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and your contributions. Still ahead. Former President John Dramani Mahama urges President Akufo-Addo to immediately work towards compensating victims of the Apiate disaster. We'll be right back with the details. Stay with us.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My name is Akrobato. People call me Who Knows Tomorrow. I don't want to hide the good things from the good people of Ghana. Let me tell you about watching your favorite kid show, movies, telenovelas, sports, news, etc. and etc. in crystal clear, high definition picture. This year, we know come to play. Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, Mr. Drew, and I'm going to show you how to pause and rewind live TV, and also program your HD Plus decoder to record shows when you're not home. Middle car. HD Plus, it's a came. Charlie, bring your phone, make a download my HD Plus app on it for you, so you can watch TV on your phone with free data every month. Then HD Plus, Charlie, do how they get you.
You're welcome back. This is CNR Extra on Citi TV. My name is Nanatufo Boateng, and I am in studio with Jude Mensah Duncan. Let's move into our next story, where former President John Dramani Mahama is asking government to compensate victims of the Apiate disaster.
Moving on, former President John Dramani Mahama has urged President Akufo-Addo to immediately work towards compensating victims of the Apiate disaster who have lost their livelihoods as a result. Mr. Mahama said this at Apiate when interacting with victims after he donated assorted food items, mattresses and 5,000 Ghana cedis to the Apiate Relief Committee. President Mahama, while acknowledging the government's response since the disaster, said it was high time the government looked at compensating the victims.
Omabrabo here. Omahiro Mubibia. Enti ade a friend of compensation no I was say abanhwe na omohwe omadofo wuye omohwe omojapade asai nesa anyomani na me ojidi say the president ede na notumu na okase omonya ebe baso yen twen enka say Apiate for encore court. Emma court and Kokan and Sana buying to compensation. The ministry of Mampini and opinion for say near Apiate for air kenning. Omoda abayancing any baby on my ABR. Baby on my mom matna copy say on the SCC a dynamo Omoda abayancing. And so I say on my six now so any a Japadia on my hero, I was there buying any effort.
I mean, it's a good call, and coming from no mean person than the former president, perhaps will shake the right tables, and then some responses will be generated from that. My only worry is when politicians appear to be taking advantage of the misfortune of citizens to score political points. And I'm hoping this is not one of such instances.
I mean, welcoming news from the former president will be a very, if you look at the circumstances under which some of these people lost their lives and their property as a result of the lack of caution from a safety official from a company transporting some of these explosives. I feel it was very unfortunate, and I think it's a call in the right direction. We need to give them some sort of package as government support for the people in that, because it's a very difficult time they are going through, and they just can't be left like that under those circumstances. So right call from the president. The donation was on point. Hopefully government listens and help in that regard. And
then also we're looking forward for the reconstruction of the community. The Land and Natural Resources Ministry spearheading that. And so we're looking forward to it. But in the Upper East region, police is investigating the killing of some 3 persons in Boko. Let's take a look.
Have been shot dead at Boko in the Upper East region by unknown assailants. The three who met their untimely death around the Boko Senior High School entrance were returning from Bolgatanga to Boko in a commercial vehicle. The incident happened on Tuesday, August 16, 2022. Even though the cause of the murder is yet to be ascertained, it has been linked to the ethnic disturbances in Boko. The deceased are Fatau Ibrahim, Bunyamino Adam and Ibrahim Abdullahi. The driver of the vehicle, who sustained a gunshot in the leg together with one passenger, managed to escape.
Thorough investigations should be carried out, because you see, you are not sure in that area what to attribute such killings to, whether it's a robbery, whether it is the ethnic conflicts in the area. And you see, it will be very dangerous to tag something as something which it is not.
Yeah.
You understand? So proper investigations should be carried out and should be publicized.
Yeah.
Published, so that people know
the cause.
Because you see, we're at a stage where we need to be putting an end to some of these so-called ethnic confrontations. If we don't do that and they escalate, the danger that is looming is really grave.
Yeah, now your fears are really genuine fears, and for myself, I've had cause to believe or even think same. To a very large extent, if you go back to the EIU, that's the Economic Intelligence report that was put out recently, the Outlook on Ghana, it talks about the fact that to a very large extent, economic investor confidence is on a low in some parts of the country because of instances like this, and the threat of a possible terrorist attack due to some of these acts. So when you are not able to really know the motive behind some of these attacks, it goes or has very dark consequences on the country than you can imagine. It's not just one-off incident just like that. Like I'm saying, if you look at the report, it places Ghana in the 12 out of 25 point with regards to the likelihood of a terrorist attack happening in the country because of some of these things. So it has very dark consequences, has very serious implications if we don't take them up seriously. So we would urge the security officials and agencies to take this up and make sure that the culprits are brought to face the law, and also understand why some of these things are happening in some parts of the country.
It's unfortunate that people lose their lives under some of these circumstances, but a similar thing has happened in the northern region, this time in Yendi. The details are in this report.
Police in the northern region is investigating the alleged killing of a 32-year-old man at Yendi in the northern region on Monday, August 15. According to reports, the deceased was shot and killed instantly by unknown persons who took away his motorbike and mobile phones. The family of the deceased has been speaking to Citi News on the matter.
Ana wunni chaka kadi go nyafrango uti chaka uyi bage on chaka la fi bien sana mbayi ma nyafra kan ndal ta pa ka ban palma ka ba sohoma ne do bang ko do bang man ko lir la banen.
Unfortunate event took place when we were asleep, and when people started saying that are we asleep, then we got that to realize that the call came from a news source saying that our brother has passed on through this problem. But unfortunately, we went there and met him dead, not alive. So the police came with their investigation team. He was rushed to the hospital. When he was already dead, he was all directed to be deposited at the morgue, Yendi Mortuary. And this morning, we went back to see what we can do in order to bring the deceased for the burial. And fortunate on our part, the police intelligence unit has come. The IGP from Yendi, so IGP has spoken to us by pleading to the family that he's aware of all that has transpired, and they will not let their gun down. They will work hard to make sure that those perpetrators are brought to book, because the crimes these days are overwhelming. So he even sent police officers to the village Bamang, the Yendi divisional commander, the inspector, the regional commander, Northern regional commander. He's also here in Bamang. They too is saying that we are very happy for what has transpired now.
Rather unfortunate. I mean, it's just sad that people have to lose their lives in this manner. For this, I mean, there's a hint or a clue that suggests a robbery because some items were stolen. But regardless of whatever the motive is, people's lives should not be taken in this manner.
It's sad, and like I'm saying, all of these come together to form that heightened sort of insecurity in some parts of the country or in that area. So we would want to play with the police. And for me, one trend I've noticed is that when some of these things happen and the police reach, it ends there. But I feel to a very large extent, they should let the public also know that so and so are the findings from this particular case, and this is what has happened. So we expect that the police takes it up very seriously again and ensure that the culprits, like I was saying in the previous report, are made to face the full rigors of the law.
All right, you're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. Mother and 2 children burnt to death in a fire outbreak at Ohim in the Ashanti region. We'll bring you the details shortly. Stay with us.
This is the first time I'm here at Chalavota, so it's like a dream come true. I've only been watching it on social media so far, and to be here is even greater than what I could imagine. It's really a strong festival with such strong messages. It's great. It's amazing, it's liberating, it's creative. I think that a crowd during Chalavota is something for the world to look at. I think it speaks loud around the globe.
Chalavota has been good because looking at the past years, for me every year there is this kind of improvement. So it has been very, very good for me.
Thank you Chalavota and thank you Ghana for offering a new experience. I have all my life to pay back.
I see. You guys can hear what's all for too. What's that? Life is too short, I know if you waste time. Where they up at this, why on not they sleep, make you wake up. Who they call me if you know the party, call me later. If your girlfriend no go, call your side chick, it makes a link up.
Good day energy drink. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Now, 3 persons have met their untimely death. A mother and her 2 children have been burnt to death in a fire incident at Ohim in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi.
Now, 3 persons have died after fire gutted a 3-bedroom house at Ohim in the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly of the Ashanti region on Monday night. The 3 include a mother and her 2 children who were trapped in the fire as they were asleep at the time of this incident. While some residents in the area suspect arson, the Ashanti Regional Fire Commander says his outfit is conducting thorough investigations to ascertain the actual cause of the incident. There's more in the following report by Citi News' Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Opon-Mafo.
Philomena Osei, a mother of 3, and her children went to bed on Monday night. But unfortunately, she and 2 of the kids met the untimely death after the house was gutted by fire. The oldest child was, however, able to escape and called on neighbors to help bring the situation under control. Neighbors who rushed to the area stood helplessly as the 3 persons were burnt beyond recognition. By the time fire officers got to the scene, the 3 persons had died. Almost all items in the house were destroyed. The intervention of the officers from the Ghana National Fire Service prevented the fire from spreading to other buildings. Family and loved ones who visited the house following the incident were in a sorrowful mood and were unable to control their tears. The neighbors say the deceased mother, Philomena Osei, has been going through a difficult time after suffering a miscarriage few months ago, and the latest incident has worsened the family's plight. A neighbor, Mama Sewa, who rushed the scene at midnight, has been narrating the incident to Citi News.
By 11 o'clock, I said, "New fee." Inti no, yet say, I say 2 near to near cranny if we say I'm robbing. By a and yes, sir, Nick said, giant a dine a jad dem. Ni be who ye no, nice jina. Boys in the fight, TBR, the Sudundumbi. So I knew actually no more free fire service. By a neck say, the basic dear na she be a Bombaba be doom. By Gina Hanny dear, no creating your meaning. Yeah, funny easy.
Or more freeman, now to your monkas or more bobina and
I. Or the Meshio, until the Baba Yaba Conane inside, don't I cried when you're quite PA. Fa ni books kakra ne nema kakra ye kra my sister ba ko ne de ne kofi nti ne mane mi no de ene ono amu de omo hire drobe nti amo frɛ police e ma omo be fa amu no
na fire service for us no more from time be ene omo bedura be brebe
be 12 something omo frɛ omo mo kro mo frɛ omo kye ansana omo nya omo amomo aba.
While some residents in the area suspect arson, the Ashanti Regional Fire Commander, ACF01 Henry Giwa.
This is very sad. I mean, some reports say she was pregnant at the time of her death. Others say she had a miscarriage. But whatever the case be, I mean, I don't know. It's quite sad.
I mean, it's one of the saddest stories I've had to review or even speak about this whole year. Especially to lose your mother under such circumstances is something that it's really difficult to take in. We, from the story, understand that her daughter was able to escape, and reasons why some people in the community are trying to point fingers at the possible arsonist going about this. But for me, I think it's still very early to be making some of these accusations and claims. We expect that the fire service would make a thorough investigation and audit of what actually happened. But we'd also want to plead. We've had fire drills, we've had instances of the fire service saying that a lot of the time when some of these instances and incidents happen, it's sort of like the last port of call is the fire service. But I believe that when you see something like that, the first port of call is actually the fire service. That should be the first thing that should ring in your mind. I mean, it's nice to want to help, but it's in some of these instances, you are actually very helpless, because what can you actually do as a person? If you don't take care, you'd even become a casualty in the case too. So we want to plead, when you see something like that, the first port of call should be the fire service. If you're not reaching them, call the police to also come in. So it's sad, it's very painful, and we wish the family well in these very difficult times.
All right. Well, in the face of a growing housing deficit, the Minister for Works and Housing is making an appeal to the private sector to step in and help.
The Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, says the government is partnering with the private sector and financial institutions to build more affordable state houses for Ghanaians. He says this move is part of the government's promise to afford Ghanaians buildings. There is more in this report by Citi News' and Shirley Zhu.
Due to the huge housing deficit in the country, the government says it has revised its strategy on affordable housing. According to the Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, government, in collaboration with some financial institutions, will provide subsidized homes to enable the ordinary Ghanaian afford one. The minister, who commissioned a 40-unit housing project by the State Housing Company Limited at Adenta in Accra, was confident that with the right financial support, the State Housing Company can provide housing units on a larger scale.
Has introduced a new affordable housing program where housing will be subsidized through the provision of unencumbered land and infrastructure on the land. With this, the idea is that we'll have absorbed about 40% of the entire housing cost, which will make it affordable. We say affordable, the UN defines affordable housing a situation where the homeowner or renter spends a quarter of his salary, about 30%, not a quarter, about 30% of his salary to either pay for mortgage or pay for rent. So with that, we are expecting the private developers to come in and provide just the housing without the cost of land and infrastructure. And they have to produce in such a way that it will be affordable to the kind of people that we are looking at. Going to be the income, police people, nurses, teachers, and all that.
The managing director of the State Housing Company, Kwabna Ampofo-Appiah, also encouraged prospective house owners to take advantage of SHC projects to acquire quality homes at affordable rates, which could be paid under flexible payment plans.
If you are buying a house, when you go to the builder, we will give you an invoice, and you go to the bank, and the bank will then assess you based on your income to determine whether you can even afford the house. So it is up to the bank or the financial institution that you are going in to determine how you pay for it. We'll be able to put you on a very good mortgage scheme. There are some of them, they even go even up to 25 years at an interest rate less than 11%. So this is something that if the moment that you qualify for that, it makes the home really, really affordable because now you are not paying it at once. Depends on the taste of the individual. So the basic one was about 250,000. But then again, it depends on the options that the person wants. Like for example, if you're looking for air conditioning, it's going to go up a bit. If you're looking for, we are doing basic tiling, but if you want premium tiles, all those adds up, and it depends on the individual's taste. But if you just want the basic one, yes.
Well, I think the conversation gradually is moving from the availability of the affordable houses to the affordability of the affordable houses.
Is it not interesting that, for instance, if you look at the Ghana's housing deficit, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, it's at some 1.8 million deficits. It was seen a significant reduction in about 33% from the previous year. So gradually some progress is being made in that regard, and rightly so. Like you said, the problem now has become its affordability. A research that was recently reported or released said that about 12.7% of total housing structures were vacant in all 16 regions due to the issue of affordability. That's 12.7. So 12.7%. So it summarizes the seriousness of the problem. And mind you, it's an age-old problem. A lot of people have real difficulties. But Nana, listening to this particular report, we understand that the housing and Works and Housing Ministries wants to partner some financial ministries. Over and over again, we've had the instances of the problem that exists at Saglemi. So if we are going to make other financial contributions, or we, referring to the state or the country government, is going to make some additional financial contributions to these new projects, why don't we focus on the existing one? Because as we know it, Saglemi has been left to rot, and this is a lot of taxpayers' money that have gone into the Saglemi project.
But the government may not have to make, physical financial commitments. It could make available land.
Yeah, whatever resources,
and of course a conducive environment for the private sector.
Whatever resources government is committing to the project. It could even be the mere use of staff from the Works and Housing Ministry. I mean, if they have to shift
some tax rebates or whatever.
I mean, whatever they are using, I feel like at this point, every resources available to government should be channeled towards existing projects rather than trying to start new ones. But I mean, you get the impression that government wants to take the issue of the housing deficit serious. 1.8 million housing deficit is a big problem, if you ask me. Significant strides have been made in that regard, but there's a lot more government should be doing to address the challenges that confront us with regards to housing. So we hope that they are listening and they'll be doing the needful.
Rightly so, but I think the SHC, the State Housing Company, must be commended. I mean, what we saw in that clip is the urban premier court somewhere in Adenta, I believe, and of course continuous partnerships such as what we've just seen will go a long way to reduce the cost of housing in the country. Many thanks to you, Jude Mensah Duncan, for joining me on the show. My name is Nanatufo Boateng, and of course we are always grateful to have you tune in and watch us on CNR Extra. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.